All right, good morning. I'm joined by, obviously you can see a number of people, including our Erie County District Attorney Michael Kane, Chautauqua County Sheriff Jim Quattrone, who, on a personal note, was my first field training officer when I came out of the academy, so I have a long history with the sheriff. And our Chief of Detectives, Craig Macy, and a number of detectives and investigators that we'll go through shortly. But we're here to announce that an arrest was made in a cold case, homicide case. Going through the timeline, on September 26, 2021, skeletal remains were located in Chautauqua County in a rural section of Chautauqua County, which prompted a response by the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Department to that scene. Throughout the course of processing that crime scene, which the sheriff will get into a little bit more, a second body was discovered a very short distance away from that scene on the next morning, September 27th, 2021. In early October, that second body was positively identified. Obviously, it took a little bit of time to identify that body, but that body was identified as Marquita Mull, who was a reported missing person to the City of Buffalo Police Department. The Chautauqua County investigators contacted Buffalo Police Special Victims Unit detectives, the missing persons section in Special Victims Unit, where they obviously informed our detectives that a body was found and was positively identified. Our Special Victims Unit was engaged, and then because this is now a death investigation, a potential homicide investigation, Buffalo Police homicide detectives were added to the investigation at that point. To go back in a little bit of the history of the missing person case, Marquita Mull was originally reported missing to the Buffalo Police Department about July 18th, 2021, as a result of a 911 call where officers took a report. And then the report was forwarded to our Special Victims Unit Missing Persons section, where a detective was assigned to that case. The last time that Marquita Mull was was observed as a part of this investigation, we believe was on or about June 25th, 2021. So there were several weeks between the last reported seeing date and the time of the actual missing person report being filed. As a result of that missing person investigation, numerous tactics were undertaken to locate the individual. There were flyers that were posted by the Special Victims Unit detective. There were numerous interviews that were conducted in the Broadway area. That was the last location that Marquita Mull had been reported to have been seen. And also, we have funded foot patrols in the Broadway area that are funded by New York State's Division of Criminal Justice Services, part of the GIVE grant, that are funded by Governor Hochul's office. Those officers are routinely on foot patrols at various times in the Broadway area. Those officers on foot patrol were also engaged by the Special Victims Unit detective to post additional flyers, interview various persons on the street, and attempt to work up some leads that may be useful to the Special Victims Unit investigator. We got to the point in October of that same year. Again, that's when Marquita Mull was positively identified, kind of going back on the course of the investigation. And there was an extensive amount of work, as I said, that was done on the missing person investigation. At this point, in October of 2021, this engaged a joint investigation between Buffalo Police Homicide, also involving Special Victims Unit. We also incorporated our narcotics unit to assist, and the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Department. There was a lot of work that was done in this joint investigation. The Chautauqua deputies were down in our building working with our investigators quite frequently. There was a lot of trips that were made to Buffalo, and they were working this investigation rather doggedly, I'll say. Yesterday, it culminated into Chautauqua deputies locating a person of interest in Niagara Falls, and with the assistance of Niagara Falls Police Department, we're able to engage that individual, brought this individual back to Buffalo Police Headquarters, where Buffalo homicide detectives joined in and ultimately led to an arrest for a murder of this particular person of interest. The name will be brought up by the DA when he gets into the point of the charging. There was, as I said, a significant amount of work. I'm extremely proud of the work that was done in this joint investigation by Buffalo Police, by the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Department. There was a lot of other assistance that was brought in. I mentioned the Special Victims Unit, Narcotics Unit, the Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney's offices of Erie County, Chautauqua County, the Erie Crime Analysis, the Niagara Falls Police Department, and there were also others that Sheriff Quattrone will get into as well. I want to personally thank and commend the works under the leadership of Chief of Detectives Craig Macy, Detective Mark Constantino, Sheriff Jim Quattrone, but in his deputies and supervisors, Lieutenant Alex Nutt, Sergeant Luke Johnson, and Investigator Jake Staley. This was a very diligent investigation that no stone was left unturned, that brought justice and some closure to a family whose loved one had been reported missing for several years. I'm very proud of the work that they did, that they can bring maybe just a little sense of some peace to the family, that they obviously found their loved one, not the way they would have liked to have found that individual, their loved one, but then also brought them some measure of a little bit of closure to get them to the next stage. With that, at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Sheriff Jim Quattrone.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner. I did want to echo the Commissioner's views. We often talk about cold cases. I would say this is an old case. This is a case that's been worked on consistently since September of 2021. In October of 2021, when the body of Marquita Mull was identified, is when our agency reached out to Buffalo Police Department. That has been nothing but total cooperation, a great network. Investigator Constantino, not only did our guys come up to Buffalo, but I met him at our office in Chautauqua County. But without the collaboration, the cooperation of the Sheriff's Office, the Buffalo PD, as well as many other police agencies, I would not see that this would be a successful investigation. We're going to continue working on the investigation. We're going to continue reaching out to any leads that we may have. But this, and I probably want to also mention the family. The family of Marquita has been working with our officers, with our investigators, and right along, and our heart goes out to them and they do get a little bit of closure. As the Commissioner said, perhaps not the way that they would have liked to find her. Our investigation included many agencies from Chautauqua County. We have a forensic identification unit, which has members from every police agency in Chautauqua County that work together. And so earlier reports, we would mention some of those agencies, but it's one team that collects evidence, helps us with the interviews, and that helps with the success. And I'll credit our former district attorney, Jim Subject, in starting that unit to help us with these types of cases. So, but again, I thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, District Attorney Keene, for all the work and the assistance in this case, and looking forward to a better resolution.
Turn over to District Attorney Michael Keene.
So, this morning, 61-year-old Richard Fox, the city of Buffalo, was charged with murder in the second degree, one count of murder in the second degree for the killing of Marquita Mull. He was arraigned this morning and he's been remanded on that count. He is going to be returning to Buffalo City Court on Monday, January 13th, for further proceedings on that count. In addition to that, he was arraigned on 4 separate counts of failing to report as a sex offender. Those counts are various aspects of the failure to report obligation that he has, and he's arraigned on those as well. Those are also returning the same day on Monday. In the meantime, we are going to continue our investigation. This is going to be, it already has been, and it is going to continue to be a very thorough investigation. But right now, we're moving forward on the one count that he's charged with in the homicide of Marquita Mull. And, I think I want to echo my colleagues, Commissioner Gramaglia and the Chautauqua County Sheriff, for their incredible work. Sheriff Quattrone mentioned, and so did Commissioner Gramaglia, a number of the people that have been involved in this. But it really is, to use the term that the Commissioner used, this is the dogged determination and commitment by multiple departments, but the detectives in the Buffalo Police Department, homicide unit, as well as the investigators in the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Department to stick with this case. I mean, it's over 3 years ago that Marquita Mull was found, and today is the culmination of the charge of the person that we believe murdered her. And I should always say, and I should say this at the outset, that obviously these are charges. Mr. Fox is presumed innocent until found guilty. But at this stage of the proceedings, we're moving forward not only with that charge, but with further investigating this case. But this is really an incredible culmination to the great collaboration that we have, with multi departments. And I know they've already been mentioned, but I'm going to say it again: the Buffalo Police Department, the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Department, the Niagara Falls Police Department, and their engagement yesterday. Even some of the smaller departments down in Chautauqua County, the Lakewood Bus-Dye Police Department, the Erie Crime Analysis Center, which is an incredible asset to our community, has been involved in this. And there's even the Applied Forensic Science Department at Mercyhurst University. All of those agencies have been involved to bring this matter to where we are today. So I commend my partners for their determination and commitment to this case and to this family. And we're going to be moving forward with the investigation. I'm happy to take any questions, but obviously, talking about some of the details of the investigation, as you all are already aware, we have to be very careful about that. So
Can you confirm that he was a level 3 sex offender?
he was, I don't know the level right now,
Okay.
but I know he was a sex offender. He failed to register.
Level 3.
Yes, level 3 is correct.
Okay, thank you.
There was a second body found 10 yards away from Marquita Mall. What is the status of that investigation?
That's ongoing. That's ongoing.
Have you identified her? Can you?
Yes, she has been identified. I don't want to publicly disclose that right now. The family is certainly aware, but I don't want to, put that out in public and without making sure that the family's aware. And that will, that's part of our ongoing investigation, of course.
Do you believe these cases are connected? I mean, it'd be hard to believe that they're not.
Yeah, I don't want to comment on that. Obviously, the bodies are very close where they're found, but given any more detail than that right now, Maki, might jeopardize the investigation, and so I don't want to do that at this moment.
He is a registered sex offender. There are 2 sex offenses on his registry. He's now charged with this. Is this a serial murderer, rapist?
Well, I don't want to go that far, okay? I mean, first of all, I got to be careful about how I characterize this, and talking about his priors is something that we have to be extremely careful about. I understand he is charged with the failure to register as a sex offender, so obviously he is he is a prior sex offender, but we have to be careful how far we go with that, because I don't want some defense attorney later accusing us of prejudicing the entire jury pool. So that's as far as I can, go with that.
Is he being linked to other cases?
Is what being linked to other cases?
Richard Fox.
Well, I think that's the same answer as what I just gave Maki. Is this is an ongoing investigation with respect to anything that Mr. Fox might have been involved in.
What led to the arrest of Mr. Fox? Of course, cold cases are difficult to solve. What pointed detectives to ultimately deciding that it was time to arrest him?
Well, I don't want to get into the detail on that, but I will turn that over to the commissioner to maybe more specifically address, or Chief Macy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Chief of Detectives Macy talk, briefly about that.
Thank you for the question. Ultimately, again, I can't reiterate enough how good the detectives and investigators work together. It was through that investigation that ultimately led them to be able to believe that Mr. Fox was involved. And through the interview, there was some very significant things that came forward into light in the interview, which was led us to be able to charge.
The interview with him or interview
Correct.
with others?
The interview with Mr. Fox.
And that was yesterday?
That was.
Did this involve any prostitution by any chance, this case?
That was investigated. I can't talk on that.
Why is this being held in Buffalo? Her body was found in Chautauqua County.
So there is, again, back to this, we can't disclose too much, but we have evidence that the crime took place in the city of Buffalo, which then moves it from Chautauqua County, where it was originally, back to the city of Buffalo.
Could he possibly still be charged in Chautauqua County, like just for some illegal disposal of a body or something along those lines?
Yeah, we'll let.
So, you know,
Yeah,
there,
talk about
that's
further.
part of the ongoing investigation, any other additional charges that might be filed. But, you know, back to Maki's question, you know, the homicides occurred here in Buffalo. That's the allegation, and that's why he's being charged here in Buffalo.
What do we know about him, about Mr. Fox, besides his criminal history?
Uh,
61 years old.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can share with you right now is that he's 61 years old and he's from Buffalo, New York.
But he has some sort of Chautauqua connection, right? There was one of his previous.
Yeah, there is a Chautauqua connection. Again, I don't want to get into the detail of that, but he has a connection with Chautauqua County.
Was there any type of technology or intelligence that you feel has been really helpful throughout this investigation?
There is multiple aspects of technology that have been very helpful in this. You know, again, that goes to the evidence, and I hate to keep giving you this answer. You know, I realize it's frustrating, but that's evidence that I do not want to put out into the public right now.
What was he doing in Niagara Falls? He's from Buffalo. He lives in Buffalo, but he was in Niagara Falls for the arrests.
I'll have to defer that to.
Yeah, at this point, he was staying at an address in Niagara Falls. To go back to the technology question, you know, and I'm a big proponent of technology, and we're getting more technology. There's been a lot of investments made by the city of Buffalo to increase the amount of technology, but at the end of the day, all that technology, and makes our work, you know, much more efficient, much more detailed, but it still takes quality investigative work to actually interpret that, to actually review that, to look over all of that. And you've got to have good quality detectives to be able to do that. And the investigators that are up here and the detectives up here, they spent a lot of time, but I just cannot talk enough about the importance of investments in technology. We're going to clear more cases going forward because of the investments that the city is making in technology. I can only speak for our department, but we are going to clear more cases because of the technology investments.
Was there a tip from the public?
It's a lot of work that was done. So, I mean, there's a lot of interviews that were conducted. We're not going to get into the evidentiary nature of that or what, but there certainly was a lot of valuable information that was gleaned from interviews that continued to take us in different directions.
Did he confess?
I'm not going to get into if you want to talk.
Yeah, no,
about
I can't get into the evidence. That would be evidence that we shouldn't be talking about.
How soon after the body was found did he pop up as a person of interest?
I'm not going to get into that. It's, you know, there was time, but I'm not going to get into specifics of the timeline. Again, that's all things that will become part of the court. And I know we say that a lot, but we do have to make sure that we protect the integrity of the investigation, and you know, things that are said here do not cause us problems in court or cause the DA problems in court.
Can you say anything about the relationship between the suspect and the victim?
At this point, I'm not going to comment on that.
I'm wondering if one of the Chautauqua investigators can talk about this. This is, you have a number of these missing and murdered women cases that are, you know, cold, or I know you're working on them, but what does it mean to finally crack one of these cases, to make an arrest?
I'm not sure if I want to use the word exciting, but it is. It's nice to see, as we keep on reiterating, the work of the investigators, the work, hundreds and hundreds of interviews that they are doing, not giving up, not losing hope. So it is great to be able to say, hey, the work that they've done, the work, you know, that they've all done together is rewarding. And we often hear about the negative in law enforcement. This is something that we can look forward as a positive, and you know, likewise, I think the families look at it as a positive in helping them get some closure.
Can you talk about what it was like to let them know, to be able to give them this news?
I have not spoken directly with the family at this point. That'll be after this. I'll have an opportunity to talk with one of the family members.
Thank you.